and see if you can get 6 out of 6 correct. So today's challenge was a little bit harder. Lots of algebra that are involved, especially on that past exam question. So let's start with our fluency. It wants you to calculate the area of a rectangle with a length of 12 and a width of 7 centimetres. So if we have a look at a rectangle here, we've got 12 centimetres by 7 centimetres. Now area is the inside of the shape, which means we need to times our length by our width. So we're going to do 12 times 7, which is 84. Now, because it is area and it's in centimetres, it's going to be centimetres squared. So our answer for this is 84 centimetres squared. Nice and easy to start. Now, our next question is probability, okay? And it wants you to say the probability of rolling a 3 on a 6-sided dice. Now, with probability, we're going to write it as a fraction. So our denominator is the number of options we have in total. Well, it's a 6-sided dice, so that means there are 6 options in total. Now, our numerator is how many of those options we're going to choose. So on a 6-sided dice, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They are your only options. And it wants the probability of you rolling a 3. Well, there's only one number 3, so that means our numerator is 1. So the probability of rolling a 3 on a 6-sided dice is 1/6. Now, the next one is mean. Okay, now mean, mode, median, and range. It's a whole set of data that everyone gets confused about. Everyone's like, oh, what do I do for mean? What do I do for mode? And things like that. Well, for mean, this is also known as the average. Okay, and this is where you add everything up and then you divide it by the number of options. Okay, so if we look here, we've got 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 9 plus 7. Okay, so 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 plus 7 equals 25. So that's our total, 25. We're now going to divide it by the number of options. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different options. Okay, so we're doing 25 divided by 5, which is 5. So this tells me that my mean is 5. That's all we have to do for that one. Okay, let's get into the problem solving. Both of these questions are about percentages. Now, percentages are out of 100. Now, remember, this is non-calculator. So we have to think about the tips that we know to find 10%, 5%, 1%, and so forth. So to find 10% of a number, you just divide by 10. To find 5% of a number, you divide by 10, then you divide by 2. To find 1%, you divide by 100, okay? To find 25%, you divide by 4. So they're the key numbers that you need to know how to do. So if we look here, a shop increases the price of a phone by 15%. The original price was 400. Work out the new price. So we need to find 15% of 400 and then add them together. So we're finding 15% of 400. Now I'm going to break it down into 10% and 5%. So 10% means I'm doing 400 divided by 10, which gives me 40. And then 5% is 400 divided by 10 and then divided by 2, which gives me 20, because I've already got my 10% there, so I'm just going to divide it by 2. Now I'm going to add both of them together, which means 15% of 400 is 60. And now the question wants the new price. So that means I'm going to do the £400 plus the £60 increase, which means my new price of the phone is £460. Always make sure you're reading what the question wants. Does it want you to find 15% or does it want the new price? Make sure you do that. Otherwise, that's how you will lose marks in your exam. So I'm going to keep those percentages up there for our next problem solving question. It says TK Maxx has a promotion where each polo is £8 and when you buy 3 polos, you get 5% off. If I buy 6 polos, how much will it cost me? Okay, so for every 3 polos, I'm going to get 5% off. So 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. So I'm going to now start by just finding 5% of £24. Now, if you remember, 10% is me doing 24 divided by 10, which is 2.4. Now, remember, in pounds, that means it's £2 and 40 pence. Now, we're going to divide this by 2 to find our 5%. Now, half of £2 is £1. Half of 40p is 20p. So that means £1.20 is my 5%, okay? So now I'm going to subtract £1.20 from 24. So now I'm going to make sure that when I'm writing it, I've laid it out correctly. Now, 0 take away 0 is 0. 0 take away 2 I cannot do. I need to exchange that 4, make it 3. And now I have 10 take away 2, which is 8. 3 take away 1, which is 2. And then 2 take away 0 is 2. So when I buy 3 polos, I'm spending £22.80. So if I'm buying 6 polos, that's £22.80 plus £22.80. Okay, and that, if we look at adding it, I'm going to go up here so you can see column method. £22.80 plus £22.80. Always make sure you're lining it up correctly. 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 8 is 16, carry the 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, add the 1 is 5. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So that means I'm going to spend £45.60 on my 6 polos. So it's just really clear to make sure you're reading the question properly. Now, you may have got to that answer a different way, and that's absolutely fine. Now, the last one is a tricky one. Is a past exam question. There's lots of steps involved in this, so I want you to watch very carefully what I do and why. So, Mano has 3 shelves of books. There are X books on shelf A. There are 3X plus 1 books on shelf B. And there are 2X minus 5 books on shelf C. So, there is a total of 44 books on all 3 shelves. And all the books have the same mass. So, they all weigh the same each book. The books on shelf B have a total mass of 7,500 grams. And it wants us to work out the total mass of the books on shelf A. Well, this is a bit of a pickle because we don't know how many books there are on shelf A. So the first thing we need to do is work out how many books there are on shelf A. So we're going to use algebra. Okay, they put algebra in the question, so we're going to solve it like we would. We're going to start by writing all of the algebraic terms out as an equation. So we have x on A plus 3x plus 1 on shelf B plus 2x minus 5 on shelf C. And all of those options add together to make 44. So we're now going to collect the like terms. So that's all my x's added together and my numbers. So let's have a look. Well, x plus 3x plus 2x is 6x. And then 1 minus 5 is minus 4. So that leaves me with 6x minus 4 equals 44. Now I can solve this like I would solve a normal equation, which means I need to do the inverse. So where I've got minus 4, I'm going to add 4. So that will leave me with 6x equals 48. And then in order for me to get the x on its own, I'm going to divide 48 by 6, which means x equals 8. So that means shelf A has 8 books. Shelf B has 3 times 8 plus 1. So 3 times 8 is 24 plus 1, which is 25 books. And shelf C has 2 times 8 minus 5. So 2 times 8 is 16. 16 minus 5 is 11 books. So now we know how many books are on each shelf. Now, the books on shelf B have a mass of 7,500 grams. So that means 25 books equal 7,500 grams. We want to find out what 1 book is, okay? So for me to go from 25 to 1, I'm going to divide by 25. And just like in ratio, I'm going to do the same to the other side. So I'm going to divide 7,500 by 25. I can use my bus stop, remember, because it's non-calculator. 25 goes into 7, 0. 25 goes into 75 3 times. 25 goes into 0, 0. So that means 1 book equals 300 grams, okay? Now, it wants you to work out the total mass of the books on shelf A. Well, A has 8 books. So that means we're going to do 8 times 300, which equals 2,400 grams. So the mass of the books on shelf A are 2,400 grams. Now, it's a tricky one with lots of steps. But if you've got that correct, amazing. If you've made any mistakes, have a look at the working out that I've got. See if you can work out where you went wrong and then have a go at correcting it and trying again. Now, as always, you can go on Dr. Frost, you can go on Maths Genie, you can go on Sparks Maths. There's lots of different websites that you can go on and practice this skill in more detail, okay?